This is a little training video I did mostly to practice my video setup and editing for Katai's upcoming online puppy class. Loki has some patella issues in his left leg, and he's been given some rehab exercises to work on. But it's been a while since he and I have done any clicker training, so we're just going back to basics right now, not so much trying to get the specific rehab work done, but trying to get him to remember how to put 2 feet on something, and then we're going to do some stretches after that. Here you can see I'm still rewarding for just one paw on the cushion. But pretty soon he's offering me 2 paws, and I'm rewarding that while he stays in position. And Kiri's getting rewarded for just staying out of the way. Now on this time, I'm actually starting to try to lure his head around in order to get him to stretch some on the right-hand side.
I have to learn to start dropping because I keep making you come off.
That's his stiffer side. It's harder for him to stretch that way. So earlier I was able to get him to do some stretches around to the left. But now I'm trying to do the right-hand side. And part of it is my positioning here was awkward, trying to reach over him. He didn't really like that, and so he tended to step off of the cushion. I went back to trying to work on the left-hand side because it was a better position for where he was standing. And when he would step down off of the cushion, I would just pull my hand away, which helped him to really start to realize that the point was to keep his feet on the cushion, even though it seemed like I was luring him away from it. So here he's starting to say, well, I think I shouldn't step back off of it, and maybe I should just bend my head around a little bit further. But it's still pretty hard for him, and I actually kept dropping cookies. Here he gets back on the cushion and more quickly understands that he needs to stay there. This is a good enough success here that I decide to go ahead and intentionally reward him by allowing him to come off the cushion. Notice here that he gets back on more quickly after stepping off, as he's really starting to understand that that's where he's getting his rewards, is when the front feet are on the cushion. This is a pretty good bend around to that side, so I do really want to see if I can get the other side as well. But he is more stiff in this direction, and when they did chiropractic work on him as part of evaluating the patella, they found that he'd been compensating with his right front leg to try to carry more of the weight from that left hind where the patella kept slipping. He's now in a good position for me to work on the other side, although it'd be better if I changed which hand I'm treating with. But I was having enough trouble not dropping the kibble when I was using my right hand, so I kept working with this. It looks like I'm teasing him, but what I'm really trying to do is just take the kibble away every time he picks up the right front foot, so that he'll understand he needs to stay. Now there he actually shifted weight onto that leg, which helps him stay put now as I try to get him to bend around to the right-hand side.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. What a good stretch.
Another exercise that we're supposed to work on for his strengthening his hind legs is to have him stand on an inclined ramp, because the incline, he stands facing up the ramp, and the incline puts more weight on his back end. Eventually we'll do stretches and other activities while he's standing on it, but first I have to get him comfortable with getting on the board. Sometimes it helps to have another dog do something, and with Loki that does also increase his excitement level. When Kiri starts getting things, he gets a little jealous. And she's pretty well trained, so I can ask her to do things and then wait while he takes a turn. So here he steps his front end onto it much more quickly, but he's still not interested in taking the treat. So I have her come back, and you can see he's getting more animated and his tail's wagging, and so that's having the desired effect. And there he goes up onto the board. He still amusingly will not take the treat, but at least he did get all 4 feet on the board. It's amusing to me because he'll run and do a lot of things at agility, including going over the A-frame. But whenever I set up things at a low level like this, he seems to be more suspicious of them. I'm not sure why.
What do you have to do for it, buddy? Come here. Come here. Yes. Come on. Yes, good boy. Here you go. Do something.
Since the treats didn't seem to be motivating him very much for this exercise, I decided I would pull out some toys and see if I could get his excitement up a little bit more.
Yes.
So sure enough, he is excited by this. And I get him back on the board pretty quickly, but I'm not quite getting all 4 on the board, which is what I'd want. So I just play with him a bit, try to get him more comfortable, and try to get his excitement level up. Usually if they're very excited, they won't be as scared and as tentative, so raising the excitement level can help if they're concerned about something. He drops the toy down before bringing it all the way back to me, so I just play with him using my hands, try to get him excited by kind of grabbing at him a little bit. And that does actually get him up on the board. Now he's thinking more about just coming and getting into my lap, which, you know, I'm okay with that. That's a step in the right direction. I decide to have Kiri come around and have her get on the board. Actually, I guess there I didn't have her get on the board. I was just trying to generate some excitement. There we go. So now he's on the board, I throw it to Kiri. That may seem odd. I had actually been offering him the toy, and he wouldn't take it while he was up on the board. So I found that over the next few iterations of this, that he found it exciting when I would throw it for her. So when she was in motion and acting wild, he would tend to get more excited. So here, when he gets onto the board, I try to see if he'll take it, and I throw it for him, and then I throw one for her to keep the energy up. You can see how much more quickly now he's willing to put all 4 feet on the board, partly because he's trying to monopolize my attention, and, you know, knowing that I'm playing with her, he's coming to be in my lap and try to be the one interacting with me. So I set him down, and I give him an opportunity after pushing her back to come get on the board again, which he does. Now eventually, like I said, the exercise will have him standing on the board facing me, and we'll do some activities and stretches in that position. But right now, this is just about getting him comfortable with it. And there, I'm just forcing him to go onto the board in order to get to my lap. This time, he's keyed up enough that he decides to go ahead and play with me a bit. So that's really good. But I'd like to do this where he understands what he needs to do, and then will play with me without having to actually use Kiri as a reward for him. There we go.
Good boy.
Now here, Kiri, of course, thought I was cueing her. So I tell her to get back, which she very obligingly does and does not get a reward for. And then he gets on the plank. And so I try to get the glove to throw to her for being good and waiting while I'm working with him.
She's vicious. She's vicious. She is. Good boy. Sit.
And I've asked him for a sit. And as part of the exercises we're going to be doing on this board are sit to stand and stand to sit, as well as the stretches, sideways stretches we were doing earlier. Those sit-stand transitions will help strengthen his back legs a bit. Notice he really doesn't seem to be worrying at all about getting on the board now. He'd still rather be in my lap, but the board itself isn't an issue, which was my main goal for this session. So I consider that to be a definite win there. And my silent commands to Kiri are because, of course, I don't want to be saying the word down and having him think that I'm trying to shut his energy level down. So fortunately, Kiri's pretty good about all this. And she's just happy that she's playing any kind of game with me, even if it's a slightly strange one. And I just, again, here, he's just getting comfortable on the board, off the board, turning around on it. The board has a paint that has some sand in it for purchase for grips so that the dogs don't slip on it. And Loki was never too keen about how his toenails sounded on that sandpaper kind of surface. So this playing and being active on it is letting him hear that sound and not really worry about it too much. And here I'm asking him to get on so I can reward both of them.
Yes, that's excellent. That was excellent.
And now I decide to lean back a little bit on the next one. Again, the idea being to have him on a slant. So here I'm going to get him back onto the board. And then while he's on the board, I lean back a little bit and I just let him go ahead and here I was hoping he'd stay on the board, but I was getting tired. But here he's up on my stomach with his back feet on the board, which is putting some of his weight the way we want it. So I just let him go with that. That's it for my short little test video of working on some of Loki's initial training for his rehab exercises. Again, this wasn't meant to be a training video per se. This is part of my preparation and planning for the new puppy. And I wanted to have a chance to cut together some video, check out my lighting and my setup in the training room there for being able to record video that I can look at later and that Sylvia can look at as part of our online class. And also get reacquainted with my video editing software. This was my first time doing a video that had voiceover, and so I'm still learning how to make that work quickly. The biggest thing that I was reminded of in doing this little video project was how much time it takes to cut together a video from source material. So that source material for that session, I just recorded the entire thing, and the session was just about 30 minutes long. So I cut a lot of dead areas out of that, and when I was learning how to do the voiceover without having headphones handy, I wanted to be able to record the voiceover with my computer mic, which meant that every time I was playing through the video so that I could narrate what was going on, I had to remember to mute the sound output. Otherwise I would get a feedback loop. I started to edit this in a new product that Adobe has called Premiere Rush. That is a video editing application that's a bit more lightweight than Premiere Pro. And it is also available for the iPhone. So I thought it'd be handy if I were out with just my iPhone, I could learn to use that to upload some quick informal videos. Unfortunately, on this very first project that I tried to do with only one source file, Rush crashed while loading the source file. So I went ahead and sent a crash report because that's an option when it crashes. I sent a crash report to Adobe and then decided I was just going to start using Premiere Pro. Sadly, Premiere Pro took close to, I want to say 8 to 10 minutes to finish starting up. From the time I clicked on it to start the program to the time that the interface was up and ready for me to select my source media was over 8 minutes. Not sure why that was the case. But it does, I mean, if it takes you 8 minutes to start the program, then that's fairly time intensive, and I probably spent 10 minutes trying to get Rush all set up before that failed. So putting together today's video project was quite a bit longer than I anticipated. And since I wanted to add on this follow-on summary of what I had done, that means that after I finish recording this, I will need to load this onto the computer and then add it onto the end of the video. But I'm not planning to do any clipping or post-processing of this, so that should go fairly quickly. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're looking forward to puppy videos because those are always tons of fun. Whether the training achieves the outcome that I'm looking for or not, the videos are almost always fun to watch because puppies are fun to watch. So have a great day.